go. Couldn't hear myself. Sorry about that. What is up, everybody? Always love to start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. Guys, first and foremost is going to be my friends over at Yellow Jacket. Guys, you know how I feel about Yellow Jacket. They've been with me since the beginning. They're releasing some brand new products. I have one of these combustion analyzers sitting behind me. The thing is, it's pretty neat. I've used quite a few combustion analyzers in my time in the field, and I haven't used this on a furnace yet. I've just been messing around with it. If you see the video I post, my daughter said that it's me like pushing it in. I'm like got it like magnetized to the refrigerator and stuff like that. But I'm going to put some videos out testing it out, and then we'll figure out what to do with from there. I think that is going to be one of those I'm going to give away at AHR, but that's Yellow Jacket's going to give me that there. So anybody going to AHR, you might be able to get one of those down there. That Y-Jack manometer, which is one of their other new products, I love that thing. To be honest, I'm trying to get them to send me another one because all the ones they've sent me I've given away. And the turbo recovery machine, I don't know if I want to make this stake, but I've, once again, 20 something years in the trade, I've used quite a few recovery machines, and that recovery machine is fucking sweet, man. So I tell you, like I always tell you guys, man, I don't ever want to influence you in any way, shape, or form. I want you to buy whatever's you want. And if it's another brand, then hey, you buy another brand. It's your hard-earned money. All I ask is when you have some money to spend, you're buying some new tools, you just give Yellow Jacket a look. If there's something that you see that hey, this thing looks neat, give me a shout. Hit me up and I'll be like, hey man, that thing's awesome. Even though they're a sponsor, I won't lie to you. I'll tell you, hey, I think this is one of the best ones on the market for the price. Like I would get it. Or I'll say, hey, this one's really good, but if it were me, I would get this. I'll never lie to you guys. So yes. So guys, remember 70 years of expertise built into every tool. Next is my people, man. BLUON. Guys, I say this every week. I don't know how people talk bad about BLUON. I really, really don't get it when I see some YouTube videos, and I know it's only a very small few people, so I hate to even bring it up, but BLUON is absolutely amazing is what they do, man. They are having that second set of eyes in your back pocket, having that support to know that you are never alone in the field, no matter what stage you are in your career. We all need help sometimes. We all need a second set of eyes. And that's what BLUON is giving every single technician out there for free. You download their app, you become a BLUON Pro member. It's absolutely free. And you can get any kind of manual that you want. And they're going to give you, I don't think people realize the value of the tech support. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They're there when you need them. We had a situation today where we had to use a tech support, and it's atrocious. And I'm not going to say the name because it's just, I don't want to get into that on here, but the whole experience with them has been atrocious. And you know what I mean? You call, and I was trying to do that because it was a warranty issue. So I'm trying to use, the factory authorized just to cover my ass. That way, if God forbid something happens, they got it documented in warranty. But BLUON was so much easier, so much better, gave us so much better information. And it's just, yeah, guys, I tell you, download the BLUON app and have it. If you don't need it, if you're a good tech, you know what you're doing, then that's great. But there's always going to be that one time where you're going to be unsure and you have somebody else to just, hey, man, you're right. That's the right diagnosis. All right. And then they also have with the online ordering your parts. It's so simple and you can earn money. Guys, if your company goes through this and you set it up, you can buy parts through your company's account, parts that you were supposed to get anyway, and you can be the one earning cash back. It adds up. Trust me, that small percentage will add up in the long run for you guys just to be able to put a little extra money in your pocket for doing what you're supposed to do anyway. All right. But anyway, guys, remember BLUON, download that BLUON app. They are literally changing the game. They are upgrading the HVAC industry one day at a time. And next, real fast, is going to be my friends over at COMPANYCAM. I'm in the process. Miss COMPANYCAM Claire is amazing. She's a busy woman. I'm trying to get her back on because COMPANYCAM does so many things that I don't even explain it properly. Even if it was only just the photo documentation part, we all know you got a company photo, you're trying to find something, and you got to go through the pictures of your daughter, or you're trying to find a picture of your daughter or your son, your wife, your whatever, and you can't find it because you got fucking pictures of furnaces. They shouldn't be together. Keep them separate. Stop paying for extra iCloud storage or whatever you Android Google people pay for. Because you have all these work photos, and trust me, trying to go back and delete all them is the biggest pain in the fucking ass. Keep them separate, keep them organized. And when you present them to a customer, present them in a way that's professional. It makes your company look a little bit better. You and the company, another company, you're all sending stuff to the customer, but you send yours in a pre-built template that looks professional. You're going to stand out from the crowd. And nowadays, there's so many chucks in the trucks and companies trying to do things, better and better and better. You have to keep upping your game, and COMPANYCAM is a way to do that. It does so many things when it comes to SEO and marketing, how the pictures pop up on Google. It's crazy. So we'll get more into that. But let's get into the show. I have a surprise guest. I think you guys are going to be excited tonight. I got to send him the link here in a second. But let's get into this pledge and rock and fucking roll. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I am your host, Gil Cavey Jr. Real fast before we get into this, I apologize about last night with that podcast being shut down so abruptly. I'm not real happy about it, man, but let me say this. 99.9% of the guests that come on these shows and these podcasts are awesome. They're easy to deal with. But, when the show gets a little bit bigger, you start dealing with some of these reps and these agencies that reach out to you and say, hey, we think it would be awesome to have so-and-so on your podcast. Would you like to have them? Some of them, I'll see if they're in the industry, and I'm like, this one sounds cool. Here's a link. Go ahead and schedule. Most of the time, it's worked out okay. Most of the time. I found quite a few people that way. But last week, and I don't want to speak ill of the lady because I've never talked to her before, but what she did was fucked up. She had been scheduled for over a fucking month. She had rescheduled once before, said she had COVID. That's fine. But then she cancels like 10 minutes before the fucking show's supposed to start and says, oh, it's because I never got the pre-podcast questionnaire. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you should have emailed me and been like, hey, I never got this. Is that still okay? I would have been like, yes, ma'am. I've done my research. It's okay. Thanks for letting me know. I'm not sure why it didn't get sent over because it should be automatic. As soon as they schedule it, automatically emails it to them. But no, she cancels. Like, it's just, I get it. We're just lonely little podcasters and stuff like that. But, if we're going to give you respect and respect your time, you can fucking respect our time. And I just thought that was pretty fucked up. And I wasn't prepared to do a solo show last night, and I don't just want to go live for the sake of going live, and then it's just me sitting there, squirrel, like, it's just hard. But I'm going to get into some of those different things I do have a guest tonight. He's hanging out in the green room. I'm getting ready to bring him in. A couple of you have asked me to bring him on. So I think that this is going to be fun. It's not what the show that I expected because we just talked, but this is actually going to work out better. So the other thing is, so last week, I put out an audio podcast. I didn't do a video podcast. I want to let you guys know what happened with that as well. So I was going to do a podcast with Mr. Ben Poole from HVAC Tactical. Because of schedules aligning, we couldn't do Wednesday night. We were going to move it to Friday. Well, talking to Ben, we decided not to do it. For all of you guys, other influencers, and you hear us talking about AHR. AHR is huge. It's the biggest expo for us, and it's right around the corner. There's a lot of planning and stuff that goes involved to make this stuff happen. So I'm planning with my sponsors to I'll be podcasting live there. Other different events I'm going to be at, speaking engagements, like all these different kind of things that I have to get ready for. Plus, I was off for 2 weeks, with that stuff from my mom. So I've been playing catch up. It's been hard. And not to mention, Ben has the HVAC Tactical Award show to plan, which I can only imagine what is involved in that. So we decided, it was like, hey, let's just do something afterwards, man. It's probably just better off to do it that way. And that's the reason that I didn't put anything out video-wise. So I've been going back and forth about what I want to do, because a lot of times when I do these solo shows and it's just me, it's really hard to put the audio version out later, because obviously I'm sitting there talking to you guys, I'm interacting with you. But when you listen to that audio version after the fact, they're not watching the video. They don't know who you guys are. It's hard to listen. And sadly, the audio podcast is what pays the bills around here. So I have to think about that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to, when I have a guest, it'll always be live. If I go solo, then maybe it won't be live on Wednesdays, but I'll do a live stream. I'm not sure. So what I might do is still go live every Wednesday regardless. It just means that if I'm solo, that's not what's going to be the audio version. I'll just record another audio podcast. I think that's probably the best way moving forward. So I got to make sure that the audio podcast is legible. Like I said, the audio podcast is what pays the bills. You guys see, I don't have a shit ton of subscribers on YouTube and stuff like that. So, the millions of downloads that people do audio is the why companies sponsor this podcast and why it's grown. So I have to make sure that is there, or that's not it's gonna be no bueno. But anyway, hello to everybody in the chat. So I apologize about that stuff. I know starting this year off has been a little goofy, man. It's been like a podcast today, not today. And one thing about this game and any other influencer will know is the biggest thing to grow and the biggest thing for you guys, the audience, is consistency. And I apologize for not having that in the start of 2023. Just bear with me as we get through some things. And I promised it's going to pay off in the long run. It's 2023 has just sucked balls starting off. It really has. We have some updates on my mom, but I won't get into that now. But yeah, that's about it. Anyway, hello to everybody in the chat. Some of you I know have emailed me and stuff like that. I apologize if I have not gotten back to some of you. Just so you know, and you can ask Rookie, because now that he's listed as an HVAC Uncensored employee, he will verify that when you have a media pass when it comes to AHR, you will get 9 million fucking emails that comes to my podcast email. So the important ones get lost in the shuffle. You have to find them. So it's hard. So if I didn't email Sam, I saw that you emailed me. I'm still alive, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Most of the giveaway stuff from the other giveaway has been shipped out. There's a few things that haven't, because I haven't been able to find boxes. Well, my wife's doing it for me to find boxes to get into them. So I'll let you know which prizes they are. I have to ask my wife. I'm not even sure she has them, but all those things will be out before I leave for HR. I promise you. And there's even been some extra surprise things thrown in the boxes. So, yeah, that's it. Anyway, all right, that's enough of the housekeeping stuff. Hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. And Mr. Adam Hurst, I haven't forgot you either, buddy. I got to just message you back while I'm thinking of it. Because if I'm like, oh, I'll message him back in a minute, I fucking forget. But I'm going to do one even better. Me and my guest are going to answer your question to me live on air. That's what we're going to do. That's even better. Anyway, my guest is, why does this thing keep clicking? Stop doing this. Okay. Let me assign my guest here, as long as he doesn't have his face real giant in the screen. Let's go to one guest. There he is. I think you're muted, buddy. Oh, your name's not Alan either. Hold on, what happened? Why did it not? What's going on here? Why is it not guest 2? Guest 1. There we go. Now we're good. Let me lock this. Apologize for that. This shit update,
man.
Anyway, guys, if you don't know, I know, Sam, you were asking the other day. So this is Ryan. So Ryan is who I talk about. So Ryan is the owner of Beltway. Ryan is my boss. He's kind of a dick, but he's a good guy. Just kidding.
I'm a nice dick.
Kidding.
It says my name is Alan, but my name is Ryan.
Yeah, we can change that. Jesus, man. Comes on last minute and fucking making demands now that he's got his own podcast. Jesus. There you go. It says Ryan. I'll put
Thanks,
King
man.
Bailing.
Thank you.
But here, Ryan, before we get started, man, I want to answer this. So,
Alan's got a question.
Alan, what did Alan ask?
I thought that's what you said earlier. I can't see all the comments from all the platforms, but I can see some of them.
Why does this say
so?
Oh, it doesn't? Okay. All right. As long as you guys don't see anything, then we're good. All right. Fuck it. I'm not gonna make issues out of nothing. All right. So Mr. Adam Hurst, that's in the chat. He's been following me for a little bit, talked to Adam a few times. He has recently being able to advance in his career. Let me find his, I gotta find his message. Should have been.
I assume he's a technician, right? Service tech?
Yep. And he's going to get into management. Oh, never mind. I think it's on Instagram.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Adam, where did you message me, buddy? Was it on Facebook or was it in Instagram? Trying to.
This camera makes my hair look 3 different colors.
Listen, I can't find his. There he is. It is Instagram. All righty. Here we go. Give it a chance to move. I am moving into management at the end of 2023, and I'm extremely nervous about it. Do you have any advice you can offer as to what I can expect and how to stay consistent and successful? As an owner of a company, so you go first. You tell them what you know.
Yeah. So if you're going from technician to manager, that's a really big step. And you're going to realize that what you get paid is what you get paid because you're really valuable with tools in your hand and you're very valuable with the knowledge base that you have. And we're helping another company, and they have an installer that wants to be a manager, and his name's Jimmy. And I said, Jimmy, they do spray foam installation and they use a gun to do it. And I said, Jimmy, you got to be just as good with that gun as you are with the computer to be as valuable as a manager, because you're trading in your gun and you're taking in a keyboard. And you're not only taking a keyboard, you're also taking leadership, and they see leadership qualities in you. So that's why they're advancing you. There's excellent books out there. Next Generation Leader is a good one. I don't know, Gil, if you have a recommendation on a book, but reading books really helps you. The E-Myth is another good book. It gets you on a business mindset, because that's how you have to think, is a business mindset. But you don't want to take, as an owner, you don't want to take your best technician, pull them out of the field, and put them in the office, because now you just lost your best technician, and now you have your worst office employee. So
on that. What's the book you made us read? The that one was really good. What was it? Something to Leadership.
Boundaries for Leadership.
Yes, Boundaries for Leadership. That was a very, very good book.
Yeah, that was a great book to teach you about culture, because you're not thinking about how to fix things. You're thinking about, how do I motivate people to fix the things? How do I motivate people to love their job? And you're going to do great at it, because you're nervous about it and you're asking questions. But if you lean in on and listening books and realize it's more about numbers and the business and taking care of customers and making the customer experience really good and holding your people accountable, I think that's what is really going to make you a great manager. Gil does a really good job at this, and you can learn a lot from him too.
Oh, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. One thing that I learned, man, because that was me. The company I was at prior. I was the best technician, so it was so hard to get me to be in the office. And to be honest, when I finally got there, it was uncomfortable as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie. I felt I was out of my element, and I was like, I'm used to going call to call, and I'm like, I don't want to sit in this office. I would find reasons to go back into the field. But then you realize, okay, well, you'll evolve as you do it. But one thing that I always say is, you work so hard, you're like, I want to be the boss, be able to tell people what to do, and they're going to work for me and blah, blah, blah. When in reality, when you become a boss or a manager or something like that, the technicians at Beltway, I work for Ryan, but
yeah, you work for everyone else.
I work for the technicians. Yeah, my job is to make sure that they have everything they need to be successful, whether that is training and resources, paperwork, vans, it's making sure that they have everything that they need so they can do what we ask them to do. And the other thing I always say is, I've always wanted to be the manager that I never had. So the guys know that I will always answer my phone. I don't care if I'm in the middle of dinner. I don't care if it's Thanksgiving and they're on a call. I will always answer the phone, and little things like that. And like Ryan said, the fact that you're nervous and you actually care about it just shows that you have the qualities inside of you to, be able to handle that position. Just know that you're going to fail. All right. You're going to fail. It's okay. That's part of growing. Just try not to make the same mistakes twice. I can't tell you how many things I fucked up. We were making like Excel sheets, and the first one I made, I was ready to I was like, oh my God, Ryan, look what I made, because that just wasn't me. I didn't know how to do that kind of stuff. So
now you got your own sheets, and you're saying all what the average tickets are and everything.
Yeah,
so
I got a sheet built that you put in the information, it just automatically spits out stuff. Yeah, man, I'm fucking smart and shit. My education.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just stick with it, dude. You'll be good. Congratulations, first and foremost. That's awesome that you were able to get that kind of position. Do you mind if I ask you what the position is going to be?
And while you're typing that out, another thing I'll recommend is, if they get you in a full-on office role, that's great. But if they give you a role that's hybrid, or they're basically telling you, I don't like the role that's like, hey, you're the service manager, but you got to go run calls all day and just deal with everyone's extra bullshit, and we're just going to give you an extra $2 an hour. I don't really like that role. You're going to be in management, be in the office. So, and Install side is a little bit different. That's a little bit more streamlined. But on the service end, I want to encourage you, if they don't put you in the office fully, I would say, hey, demand that you split your day up. Hey, I need half the day to work on the business, and I need the other half a day I can run calls for you. It's starting out, but try to make it clear to the boss, I want to make my way to just straight office if they're not already doing that.
Yeah, and that was hard for me. Ryan will tell you. I mean, I always be honest. Trying to allot time for certain things, or somebody would ask for help, and obviously I would never tell somebody no, and I get pulled away to help them do something, but I had to remember to get back to do the task that I was originally supposed to do. So
yeah. How do you stay organized? What works for you to stay? I don't even know, but what works for you to stay organized?
Now a lot of times I'll email myself, and I'll keep those emails open. And then as I do them, I'll delete them or close them. Or, you know me, I'm a pen and paper guy. Sometimes I'll literally write things down, or I have that Things app on my iPad that I'll write things down to remember to do them that day. And also Destiny is very huge at that. So it's definitely a team effort, because that's one thing about, at least in my position, like, you get pulled a lot of directions and sometimes it can get chaotic, but you got to be able to hold it together and meet in the middle, man. So, but yeah, you please always reach out, Adam. If, like I said, I don't know everything, man. But if I can ever help you, please don't hesitate, man. I hope that helps you.
Yeah, it says you're going to start selling equipment, and are you getting in the office being a warehouse guy, or are you coming from is he coming from a company, like a contractor?
I think he.
Because if he's.
I was gonna say, can you lay out the situation for us, Adam? Is this the company? So are you moving up in the existing company you were with? Are you getting the job with a new company? And where are you coming from? I'm almost positive Adam was a technician, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he said in the comment mentioning about start selling equipment. Just when they get you in the office, as an owner's standpoint, he's going to pay you all this money and wants you to sell to kind of pay yourself, pay the roll off a little bit. And I think if I had to do it over again, I would say, hey, Gil, I want you to just focus on the new role and getting acclimated to this, because I did the same thing. I said, hey, Gil, you were really good at selling. So I was like, hey, can you sell and manage everything I'm asking you to manage? And the first couple months, I could see I was straining you out. And I was like, hey, let's whole ass one thing and not half ass two things. And you were whole ass sitting them both because you have really good work ethic. But I could see, like, between that and having, how many kids you have? 9, 10?
Yeah, sometimes it feels like it. They're like gremlins, they multiply.
It can be tough. And when you first came on, we were working from home too. So that sucked. Yeah,
I was like, Ryan, we got to get an office. Like, we got to have a home. We can't be a bunch of vagabonds. I was trying to give him every speech we could, and getting the office was amazing, because now it is amazing for a lot of other reasons. But yeah, I'm not doing that home stuff. It's yeah. I work late for a reason.
If you're going, Casey just messaged you. If you're going from field to office, I really just recommend look at average tickets and see how you can get it 10% better. And you don't have to be a selling guru. If you tell the guys, hey, I really need you to blow out drains, like every drain needs to be blown up. If you charge $50 to put some nitrogen down the drain, and your average ticket is $50, then you just increase your average ticket by 100%. Now, obviously, it should be higher than that. I used round numbers to get a point across, but think of little things. You can, if you raise the ticket 10%, that's the company's doing 10% better than before you were in the office.
Yeah, people always try to make big, drastic changes sometimes, and normally that never ever works. So if we have all of our technicians, like, they're all doing really good, but one's average is falling a little low, I'll literally tell them, what is one thing add on that you feel really comfortable with? And the most common one is like a hard start. You can put a hard start on every system that doesn't have one, and it's only going to help it. We can sit here and agree to disagree on that, but it's only going to help the system. Offer a hard start on every single call that you go to, that and a maintenance plan on every single call that you go to. And all of a sudden you start playing the numbers, statistics. You know, if you only offer it twice out of 10 calls and you sell it once, well, that's shitty odds. But if you offer it 10 out of 10 and you sell it 5 times, now you're 50%. So you just increase your chances.
And the statistic is if anyone's under 20% on selling service contracts, that technician is not offering them. You can be the worst salesman in the world. If you offer it 10 out of 10 times, you will always sell 2. If you communicate it, if you botch it, you will always sell 2. So that's 20%, right? But that's awesome that they're trusting you with your own branch. And, you know, that's really cool. If you're getting an entire branch, I would say that you cannot grow a company without good culture. So read that book about boundaries, Boundaries for a Leader by Dr. Henry Cloud. And a lot of things will go over your head. But then once you get in that management role for 2 months, everything will just start clicking for you. And you'll be like, oh, why does people feel underappreciated? Why does one person have more control than others? One person's pissed off. Now everyone's got to be, pissed off. I feel like I have a bad apple. Do you really have a bad apple? But you need the bad apple. That book talks about all of that and how to handle and how to have extreme ownership. And if you have a good culture, your company is going to grow.
Yeah. And that's one thing, like when I talk about stuff like, we're by no way, shape or form perfect at Beltway. There's no such thing as a perfect company. And,
I'm perfect, buddy.
Yeah, and I wouldn't think that our culture is perfect, but we have really, really good culture. I mean, you see the videos that we share. How many of you this Monday morning went into your office for a meeting and ended up eating breakfast and playing cornhole? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
no one wanted to play spike ball with me, man. It was kind of...
I'm too old for it. Every time I do it, I like blow a knee out or a hamstring or something.
I get it. No one wants to play.
Spike ball is hard. I never knew what that was until he told me. But
I love spike ball.
Yeah.
But yeah. So to go over what we do for culture in the book, this is something we got from the book was Monday we have a culture meeting and it's just an hour, 45 minutes to an hour long. I buy a solid breakfast. It costs $50, $60, $70. And then I read a couple of reviews and I say, okay, everyone, if departments need to talk and clarify anything, go ahead and clarify stuff. But if you're not, play a game, just talk, hang out, shit on each other. I don't really care. We're just going to have a good time for an hour and then you can leave. And then Tuesday is the technical. Wednesday is the communication. And then every so often, Thursdays and Fridays, we'll have install and CSR meetings. I think we can do a little bit better on that, but the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is very religious.
Yeah. And I also Thursday and Friday want to start getting into individual training with people because you guys know it isn't a group. Like we have very good meetings technically and communication wise as a group, but sometimes getting people to open up a little bit more and working with them one-on-one. You try to do that when you have time and also depending on the season. So we're going to try to get back to that stuff. So one thing I wanted to talk about tonight that I've been reading and we can, we don't really need a script. We can go on whatever side. Actually, first and foremost, I want to say this. I said something in the audio podcast, but you guys or managers, or if you are business owners, Mr. Ryan here and our good friend Nate did start their own podcast that they have out. And it's very good. Yeah. Him and Nate they're very good, genuine guys. And I said this in the audio podcast last week that it's very good business information without all the bullshit. You can listen to it and just tell it's genuine and they're only from the beginning. So definitely go check that out. It's on all the same place you would find mine, you would find theirs. It's all in the same places.
Thanks for a shout out. I appreciate that. You didn't have to do that.
No, of course, man. But I wanted to talk to them about when it comes, so I've been seeing things about all these crooked people when it comes to heat exchangers. And, I saw a couple of YouTube videos. I won't mention the people that's irrelevant, but it's like all these people are out there ripping these people off when it comes to heat exchangers. And do people do that? Yes, they do. We know that all too well. But I think that some people are doing systems and people are just, they're giving it a bad rap. So, Ryan will concur. I would say 75% of the furnaces we sell, they're not even cracked. It's just showing them how bad it looks. And then the customer decides to replace it.
Yeah, I'm half tempted to grab my camera because I'm at the shop and I don't know if the video matters, but I mean, there's some pretty rough heat exchangers back there that they're not cracked, but I mean, they are just, I mean, they're brown, they're rusty as all get out. They've got like a rainbow color from overheating and no one's setting the gas pressure. I mean, they're really rough. And when you show a customer that, you can be very honest and say, hey, you know, this looks really rough to me. What do you think? And they'll be like, oh, you know, look, you know, maybe we should replace that. I'm like, okay, good. You know,
and you're honest with them. You say, you know, you're like, do I have to replace it? No, like this works. It's in rough shape, and they call them TSPs, temperature stress points, especially when you know the certain manufacturers where they're known to fail, where they're known to crack, you know, in the turbulent areas. Normally it's where like the first bend where the heat starts to go. That's normally where they start to crack because of expansion and contraction. And just showing the customer and answering their questions. Everybody wants options. So that's what it is. It's just being honest with your customers and letting them know what's going on. And it's amazing how many times they're going to pick to replace it. Because one thing we won't have, we've fired people recently. You know, we will not take people doing things that are unethical, even if it's close. I always do it when I do meetings. I draw a line on the board and I say, what is this line that you can get close to, but you can never cross? And it's the line of ethics. You cannot cross that line. Well, at least you can't cross it and work for Beltway.
Yeah, I think I think with ethics in the line, you have to hire good people, and you know, we had a situation where, you know, someone did something pretty cruddy, and I was at that customer's house, and less than 11 minutes. I think I got there in 11 minutes from hearing of just the inkling of the situation. I got there in 11 minutes, and then Gil handled the employee. So, you know, one thing we do at Beltway is we have install sheets, and when you sell something, you have to fill one out, and you have to put the reason why you're selling it. And that helps us keep us accountable, because if you're not holding your guys accountable, then, you know, and you give commission, then they can totally, you know, it's a system, a process of, you know, you inspect what you expect. And if you circle on the paper, hey, it's a cracked heat exchanger, and the installer goes out there and the heat exchanger is not cracked, there's going to be a conversation had. You know, and it's possible termination too. So everyone, Gil, you say it all the time, people, they police themselves.
Yeah, they really do. That's one thing about our team. If you come in and you're a sack of shit or you're doing something wrong, you won't fit in, and we'll know about it because they'll tell us like, hey, this guy's got to go. Like he's not part of this team. And the other thing is I make them send me a picture of it. That's how this was caught so fast. Because if they say, oh, this is a cracked heat exchanger, I'm going to offer the customer a furnace. Because like I told you guys, we pull heat exchangers. So it's no smudgy picture on a phone. You pull it out and you show it to the customer. So I say, hey, send me a picture. Let me take a look at it. I look at it. If it looks, like I said, I've taken classes, the heat exchanger experts, you know, being in the industry, I know where these things crack. And if it looks out of the ordinary to me, it's going to draw a red flag. And that's what happened that day. I went into Ryan and was like, hey, bro, look at this. This is off. This is what I think it is. He was like, yep, you're right. Bam. Situation was dealt with quick, fast, in a hurry, in a situation that could never arise because we were able to jump on it. You know, does it happen every time? But no, because of things, we put stuff in place so that it can't become bigger than it needs to be.
Yeah, and typically what we do, the rule is like, well, if it's over 10 10 years old. We pull the heat exchanger every 2 years. We have a little sticker we put on, says, hey, this has been pulled by so-and-so. So that way we know, it doesn't, you don't want to pull it every year. That gets obnoxious. But I would say a lot of the heat, did you say earlier that most of the furnaces we sold, oh yeah, most of the furnaces we sold recently were because it was just a maintenance, and you pull it out, you see the TSPs. Hey, I can put this back together, and I put it back together, but you know what it looks like on the inside now. What should we do? Oh, I think we should just get a new one. Great, we'll be here 2 days from now. Yeah. And that's been a lot of our furnace success. And going back to, it was Adam, right? That had the questions. The maintenance contracts is a really, really big deal. Yeah, Adam Hurst. The maintenance contracts is a really, really big deal. Having a lot of those maintenance contracts, so you have those opportunities to pull heat exchangers, really, really has helped us, because we've had a better October, November, December than we have June, July, August.
Yeah. And one thing that we learned, there's a good book that we just recently read that's not really a book for everybody. It was kind of for us, from people that we know. But this is a good way to think about service contracts. Is you don't really make money off of the plan, the club membership itself. But what you're doing is you're taking that customer off the market. So they are no longer a prospective buyer. They're not looking for a company. You're their company. When it breaks, when they need a new one, you're who they're going to call. So, but what happens is too many companies go out there and your maintenances are dog shit. There's a lot of places, So ours are totally different. They're thorough. The guys are there for a long time. The customer sees the value in what they're paying for. So that way they keep renewing. Because if you're selling them all the time, but your renewal rate sucks, then you're just kind of chasing your tail. You're not, you know what I mean? You're never going to build them up. You're just putting the ones back that you lost. That's like having a hole in your pocket and you're making money, but you're losing it just as fast as you're making it. It's the same kind of concept. Mr. Tons,
good.
I was going to say, he asked about what causes heat exchangers to crack. And I was like, that's a good topic that we can get into as far as, so the why behind the what. And the other thing, real fast, we move on. And the other thing we'll let our customers know is we get it that most manufacturers have like a 25, 30-year warranty on their heat exchanger. And we'll tell them, hey, this thing is out of labor warranty, which that's the expensive part. You can replace this heat exchanger. Like the manufacturer will give you another one. And if that's the route you want to go, we're more than happy to do that. But the labor is going to cost X. But we're honest, if it's a 17-year-old furnace, we're going to say you're going to have a new heat exchanger, but everything else is going to be 17 years old. Provide them all the options, let them pick what they want to do. Exactly, because we care. We try to.
You want to be helpful, authentic, and present. Every single call you go to, helpful, authentic, and present.
But if you go ahead, if you want to start, and then I'll chime in on
why they crack.
Yeah.
I'll go with the less obvious reason, which is static pressure. Static pressure can be a reason. If that static isn't right and that fan is not moving the way it's supposed to, and it's kind of having a buildup of heat right there because it's that fan motor is dragging, you're not going to be able to move that fan as fast as the manufacturer designed, right? So you have a small return, that static pressure. It's dragging that fan motor. Well, that fan motor is not spinning air as fast by that heat exchanger as it should. So then, boom, now we have a premature failure. And that's what we call the TSPs, the temperature stress point. Another thing that's not super obvious. And can you hear me okay, Gil?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Another thing that's not super obvious is a coil. The condensation from the coil, that coil pan being drained up, and it might have a slow drip on that heat exchanger. Well, guess what? Now you got a couple rust spots forming, stuff like that. I've seen that happen before too. So those are two non-obvious that I know of.
Yeah. So really, you break it down into a couple of different categories. One of the biggest ones is going to be airflow. So that could be cleanliness. The system's constantly dirty, so there's never enough air moving across that heat exchanger. So first and foremost, think about a heat exchanger. It gets hot. cold, expands and contracts over the life of the furnace, expands and contracts. So what happens is one day it goes and it cracks, looks like a vagina. That's what my hands just look like. So not having the proper airflow. So first and foremost could be that the furnace is oversized. And guys, not to go off on another thing here, but if you ever sell a new system or you replace something, don't just put the same thing that was in there. Make sure that something doesn't seem off, that it's not a, 1,200 square foot house and it's got a 120,000 BTU furnace, because it happens too much. We see it all the time and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
How big's that house?
We didn't have a situation that bad happen, but we did have a situation happen not that long ago where the manufacturer we used gave us a new price book, and the furnace they paired with a 2.5 ton, I think, was way too big. And it's my fault because I didn't check it. I just said, put the new model numbers, the CHIIRP stuff in the price book. And it was like, I
didn't see either.
This furnace is, it's just like, this furnace is too big. And it was like, all right, well, we already cut a hole in it. What do we do?
Yeah.
But we are fortunate enough to have an install team that's like, hey, this doesn't seem quite right. Like they're not like, hey, we trust you 100%.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, this doesn't seem right. So we figured that out. But imagine if he never said it. Imagine if he didn't say that and this just went on for like the next 5 systems before it became a problem. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, mistakes happen. Is how you handle that mistake too.
Exactly. We all make mistakes. It's how you, as companies, it's how you handle those mistakes is what sets you apart from the rest of the show. But the other thing that I want to say when it comes to, when we talk about airflow is, is the return not big enough? Is there not enough return? The duct size, the cleanliness, do the people
the blower wheel?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it leads in exactly what he was saying. If that blower wheel is caked and dirty, I mean, yeah, we know about the AC, but it's the same for the heat. Is the coil dirty to the point that you're causing now heat is stacking up on top of the, furnace, causing it to trip on limit and things like that. And that's also static pressure. Your ductwork's not sized properly. Your static pressure's off. Now it's like an oil can. You get that boom, 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 because the pressure's not going through. It's trying to push itself out. So those are the most common issues when it comes to it, and normally they're not supposed to crack, but let's be honest, not all systems are in ideal applications. Like one thing you should know that I've only seen a few times in my career, but you should never cut out the back of a furnace. You always go out the side. If you see something coming out the back of a furnace, you should immediately shut that thing off. It needs to be replaced because that is unsafe and not proper. You can put it on top of a box, and really 5-ton, just what you're really supposed to do, or come out of both sides, or 120,000 for 5-ton systems, what I mean. But, you're not, you never ever go out the back. And I know that seems like an obvious thing, but there's a lot of people out there that don't know that. So a lot of times it's those kind of issues, never set up properly, gas pressure. Guys, don't assume when it comes to gas pressure. If you don't know, like for us, if we have never set it, we've never touched it, even if we installed it, first maintenance we go out, they're going to double check, maybe the installer's manometer wasn't working right that day, or maybe it was a busy day and they forgot or whatever, something happened. Somebody's going to be there to double check to make sure that it was done. So if those people have been a maintenance contract holder for 6 years, do we have to check it every year? Not necessarily. But if it's never been checked, you need to check it. Don't guess. And the other thing is, don't ever check gas pressure without having your manometer hooked up to it. I had to yell at a greenhorn the other day, who's actually an awesome kid. He's going to be really good in this industry. But he was like, yeah, I'm adjusting the gas pressure. And I was like,
well, the best part about that story was he was adjusting the cap on top of the gas valve.
Yeah. So he wasn't, and that's the funniest part. He was turning the brass cap on top of it. In all fairness, he was never I never took the time to show him. He was assuming he knew where to hook it up, but not how to properly adjust it. And he was turning the cap and he was like, it's not doing anything, man. And I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, that's the cap. And he was like, give me the deer in the headlights look. And we laughed for a little while.
Yeah. And I think it's really helped that we recently, and as of recent, I mean, like 2 weeks ago, got a working system in the office. Like a dummy system back in the shop, that we can mess with. So I think that's really going to help us too, because we can talk all we want on a whiteboard. And I think we've done a lot of communication stuff, especially since you've come on, Gil. So you've done a really good job teaching them communication. And now it's like we have some greener guys that we just need to teach them technical. And now we have the ability to do that. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Another thing
awesome.
I thought, another thing I thought about the gas pressure thing is cross contamination, where the intake and the exhaust are crossed. And when you open the cabinet, it's going to be rusty as all get out. And that's because they goosenecked the exhaust, and because they have them swapped, the fresh air is the gooseneck and the exhaust is the one pointing down. So now that exhaust goes up into the fresh air, and then boom, now you have a rusty cabinet, potentially cracked heat exchanger plus rusty everything else. I mean, I saw one the other day. I was like, if I touch that gas line with my pencil, it's going to go right through it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there's so many people that install things like that because they don't check it. The customer got the cheapest bid and they got the shittiest work too, because it just wasn't, they were just trying to get it in, get their money and move. Is everybody still out there? I saw comments just cut off. It's happened a couple of times. I wanted to make sure I can see that we're still live. I just wanted to make sure everybody was still there. It says people are watching, so. But when it comes to heat exchangers, all right, nobody was saying anything. I was just making sure.
I think they were just appreciating what we had to say.
Good, they were listening. Normally, they got to keep me on track because, it was the one show by myself. They were like, "It's fine, Gil," and they were like, every time I'd go, talk about something and go off, they were like, "Squirrel." Yeah. That was me. I just go off on a tangent when I'm by myself. I know I ask this all the time. Who of you or how many of you are going to be able to make it to AHR?
Yeah, I highly recommend going. I mean, the plane ticket doesn't cost that much. I mean, it's an experience that you should really take into consideration.
Yeah, it's a blast. And if you're not going, I would highly suggest going to buy one of the online tickets for the HVAC Tactical Award Show, because what Ben has done for that, like building that and creating it, is absolutely fucking amazing. Like, that's for us. That's for you guys. That's for people in the field to get recognized for what they do. And this thing is really, really going to take off. And it's awesome. If you guys don't know, I'm a nominee for HVAC Podcast of the Year. I mean, if I win, that's great. I mean, but it's awesome to be nominated, because the last year when they had it, that's when me and Kelly had separated. And I didn't know if I was even going to podcast, if I was still going to do this. So I wasn't podcasting, and I wasn't nominated last year. But to be honest, all those other guys are my friends. They do amazing shows. So I'm happy to see a friend win too, to be honest. So we'll see.
What are you most excited about when you go to HRI?
To be honest, it's, you know me, man. I'm a people person. Like, I love to meet people, and I love to meet people that support the podcast that aren't the people that are in the chat every time. I love hanging out with the other influencers that I've become really good friends with. Me and Rookie get to hang out. It sucks that Rookie can't make it to the Tactical Award Show because his flight don't get in until later. So I told Ben just to give my ticket away and say it's on HVAC Uncensored. But it's good. And to be honest, man, it's funny. Like, I joke with Ryan, like, I know that I podcast. I've been doing it for a while and people know who I am. And but when you go to HR, it's funny because people like, it's almost like you're a celebrity. It's kind of funny. And I am no celebrity. I am nobody special. I put my pants on just like you guys. I'm just a blue collar tradesman who just happened to work his way up into management. But it's awesome going to these places and people meet me and like the look on their face. One, I'm extremely appreciative because it makes me know that what I do, I'm actually reaching people. I'm actually helping people. And when I hear their stories, they're like, man, I heard this one podcast and, it got me fucking fired up, man. I was like, yeah, I know I can do this. And I did this and I got a promotion or I got my biggest ticket ever. Like, that's the payoff. Like, it's great that the podcast makes money. Like, woo, that's great. But that's the kind of stuff that pays off in the end. It's fucking, it's awesome,
So you being able to see the people that you may help or influence is the best part for you. Not the strippers, cocaine, or the food.
No, that's a hard number two. But it's a hard number two. But
Aaron for people first, and then strippers next.
Yeah,
Tiffany, get over here.
There may or may not be pictures of that, but no. Last year in Vegas, I think Rookie still has the pictures where we're walking through, and these damn strippers with whips ended up grabbing me because I was half stoned and shit faced because of those gummies that Chris from HVACR videos gave me. Next thing you know, I'm kneeling down and they're like smacking him in the ass for a picture. And I just like took money out of my pocket and gave them each $50 to leave me the fuck alone. And they were like, how much money did you give them? I'm like, I don't know. I just wanted them to get away. So it was funny.
Yeah. Do you see the Sam's comment?
Sam.
He's asking for more details about pulling heat exchangers.
Yeah, we can still do that. Sean Wolf, I see you on Facebook, buddy. I had to pull it up to see the names because Restream doesn't let it come over. But thank you for coming from Montana. Thanks for joining us this evening. And James, thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. So you guys know Mr. James Alol. He was from Better Air. Very, very smart man. Good friend of mine. He's the one who left the comment. You're a great inspiration to many, Gil. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Sam asked about, does it take 2 hours to pull a heat exchanger? What we recommend is get a couple 80%ers in the shop and just pull them and put them back and get some reps in. Once you get a rep or two down, it shouldn't take you that long. You want to be on the maintenance. We give our guys 2 hours to be on the maintenance, but that includes being on the maintenance, communicating to the customer, offering to the customer, pulling the heat exchanger and putting it back. So that's a lot to do in 2 hours. So I just recommend if it's buried, don't pull it. Obviously it's a guide. It's not religion. So, if it's a wide open basement and it's an 80%er, go ahead and pull it. And it's over 10 years old. Go ahead and pull that sucker and then put it back. It should take you, I don't know. What do you say, Gil? How long do you think?
Once you get down to pulling them, and if there's no issue to check it, I mean, you can probably have it out within 10, 15 minutes at most.
Yeah, it really doesn't take that long.
Yeah. And for us, the way our maintenances are, like, we're already pulling the burners out, so you got to turn the gas off, disconnect that, take the gas valve loose, get the burners out to be able to clean them. So that's already out. We should already taken, the pressure switch hoses off to blow them out to make sure they're clean. So part of that's already done for you. And once you get the hang of it, a lot of people, to be honest, it's you make it harder in your head than it actually is. I went on a call Saturday night to help one of our techs, which it was a problem on a 90%er where it was getting water inside the inducer and it was coming back from the drain because the drain was clogged and that was the lowest point. So water was backing up, coming back in. But he went to the truck to get something. He came back and I had almost the whole face off. And he was like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, yeah, it's, bzz, bzz. It doesn't take long to get all that shit apart. Rather than guessing, I was looking at the secondary heat exchanger, making sure nothing was plugged up. There wasn't water still in there. It's all about just being familiar with it. It's like anything else. The more you do it and learning some of the little tricks, like 80%ers, You can pull them. They're easy. 90%ers really aren't that bad either, depending on what brand. Like back in the day when I did Carrier, some of them were a pain in the ass because the primary and the secondary were two separate pieces. So that's what made them hard to get out. Now they've made them all one piece. If they're one piece, it's just like pulling an 80%er. It's just two different things. So it's just learning to do it, but there's different tricks. Like I remember an old guy taught me, we don't do it much, but a way to do 90%ers is they would literally plug up the secondary trap and then they would pour water down in through the inducer motor and they would fill up the secondary with water. And they'd look at the blower underneath to see if water dripped down. If it did, then there's a hole rusted out or rotted out inside your secondary. Obviously, you don't do this with the primary. It's not going to fill up the primary anyway. You might be able to get a little bit, but if you don't see any water coming down, you unplug it, you let it drain out, make sure you do it properly, and then you just put it all back together and you're good to go. Let's see. If you take it out in 15 minutes, how can you tell the customer it's a big labor cost if the warranty? Because I can do
same thing I tell my wife. It's not how you ride the boats. It's not stuff. Yeah.
And just because I can do it in 15 minutes, so let me take that back. I can pull it out in 15 minutes. I would say for most people to be able to take all the pieces off, pull it out, check it, all that kind of stuff, put everything back in, I would give you an hour. So 15 minutes for me was just taking it out. That's me. I've also been in the trade.
Yeah. It takes about a half hour. I would say it takes about a half hour to put it back in. It's easy. It's easier to take it out. It's probably a little harder to put it back in. Maybe 20 minutes to put it back in. But yeah.
But let me ask you this real fast. Sorry, Ryan. Let me ask you this though, Sam. Yeah. So, and even if I go out and do it, it's not going to be any cheaper for the customer. Should I charge less because of my experience and I can do something quicker? They're paying for my knowledge because I've done it so many times that I can take it out that fast, put everything back to correctly and put it back in. So that's why we're a flat rate company. So when we do something like that, if one guy does something, it takes him, our billable hours is 3 hours. I can get it done in 30 minutes, but they get it done in 4.5 hours. I don't charge them more, so.
Yeah, in that case, I'm saying it's a high liability is why it costs so much. This is carbon monoxide, and I'm a trained professional to handle this. So I'm not selling based on how laborious this is. I'm selling on how big expertise that I have when I'm doing it.
Yeah, and most of the time, if a heat exchanger prematurely cracks, changing the heat exchangers not really going to fix the problem. It's going to hide it. So, like we said earlier, there's an airflow. There's more to it. Sometimes replacing the furnace doesn't necessarily fix it. If they have a duct issue and you put a new furnace, they still have a duct issue.
Yep.
So that's why we try to offer overall solutions, not just quick fixes. Sometimes the customers don't take the whole solution we gave them, but guess what? If they come back and they're like, hey man, you guys put this furnace in and I have this issue. Well, remember Mr. Smith, when we said that we should have added this return and made this bigger and put this filter in? I do remember that. Well, that's why we said that, so this wouldn't happen. Damn it, all you did was justify yourself. You covered your ass. CYA, cover your ass. Be good at what you do. Be thorough. Explain the option to the customer. If they pick the wrong one, hey, that's their choice. We can't beat them up and take their wallets. But if you don't ever give them that option, then yes, it is your fault.
Yeah, it's the expertise and the warranty processing fee, and anything we touch, we give you a lifetime warranty on it. So that's why it costs so much. What should we do?
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah. So we come out and we replace something. A customer's not going to pay for that part again while they're with us. Because
I've never pulled a heat exchanger and it was bad where I said, hey, I need you to replace it. And they weren't like, they're either like, hey, fuck you, man. Or they're, oh, well, let me do that. It's not, there's no real in between. It's get out of my face or whatever. So.
Yeah, no. Sometimes you get yelled at. What do you mean I can't run my furnace? It was working when you got here.
It's also wildly dangerous.
Yeah. Sam said, thanks. Just giving you the typical reaction. They hear warranty and think that's nothing. Yeah. So, and to be honest, think about it, guys. If you weren't in this field and you called somebody, or let's say this, say that you're driving your car's fine, but you think you just need an oil change and maybe like a tire rotation. You take it to a good shop, who a friend of ours, Nate, his family and him have an amazing shop and they do everything. They go and they do that, but while they see it, they see like something leaking out of the engine. And they're like, oh man, like we better make sure that Gil or Mr. KV knows this, that it's leaking. And they're like, yeah, your engine's going to seize up. Like this thing, we can change the oil, but it's leaking oil pretty bad. Like you probably got to replace the engine. Nobody wants to hear that. I'm not going to be like, oh, yippee, thanks. But I'm going to be grateful that they were thorough in their job and they told me rather than seeing it and not saying anything. That's like we always say with the whole, they go to change your tires and see your brakes are fucked up and don't say anything. Not saying anything makes you just as bad as people who do, cruddy things. And I know some people might get mad when I say that, but that's the truth. If you don't say anything, that's just as bad as charging them for something they don't need or, letting, one of those cruddy acts. That's just as bad.
Yeah, we have a moral obligation to do the job right. What we do and what we recommend can affect people's power bill. I mean, look at all the technicians across the country. If we were all very thorough, we'd help the power grid. I understand, Ryan, you got a tinfoil hat on, but there's a lot of things we can do. We have a moral obligation to go out there when it's cold out because we're the ones who know how to fix the heat. We have a moral obligation to go out there when it's 100 degrees out and Mrs. Jones needs air conditioning because that's what we learned to do. And just like when COVID happened, they need nurses and they needed doctors. Well, when it's hot and cold and, we're having an energy crisis, well, we can be the solution for that. And we have the ability to make things better. And so what if you 1 out of every 10 customers is an engineer who's a dickhead? Who cares? The other 9 really want to know what's up. The other 9 customers are either grateful or they're going to buy from you because people care about 3 things: comfort, savings, and safety. What's the last one? Safety. Comfort, safety, and savings. Yes. So when you do maintenance, think about those 3 things: comfort, savings, and safety.
Yeah, you got to explain things. And one of the biggest things when you explain things to customers is, we're the technicians, we're the techie nerds. Customers aren't. You don't got to say like that blower motor's got a winding inside and the power loops around and it hit this spot and it overheats and melts like a marshmallow. Like they don't care. They want to know how it's going to affect their wallet, how it's going to affect their comfort. That's the thing. Is it safe to operate? Like we just said, comfort, savings, and safety. That's what they want to know. And that's how you have to explain it to customers. Sometimes we try to talk too much. I've been there. I've done that. Yeah, I've had customers that have wanted, like, I could see in their face they were going to do something, and then I never shut up, and they're like, you know what? Maybe I want to think about this because I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. So, yeah, you just got to be careful. But what he was saying, not so I don't forget, is, guys, our job is important, and you need to think of it as such. Hold yourself to that standard as if you are a fucking nurse or a doctor, because we really, really can change lives. Why does this say the video ended? Maybe that was on Facebook.
It froze hardcore for a second.
Oh, it said it ended on Facebook. But anyway, hold yourself to that high standard. And also, there is no better time to be in the trades than now. There is a shortage of technicians. If you are good at what you do, you can name your fucking price. If you came into Beltway and you could communicate and you could fix whatever we sent you on, and you were like, hey, I want to make some extremely high number, we'd probably give it to them, would we not?
Okay. I just checked Facebook. Facebook is working. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Were you hearing what I said?
Yeah. Fuck everybody. I'm Mike Lowry.
But yeah, if we had some guy come in who had experience, was a good communicator, and could fix anything we went on, and he asked for a high number, we would probably give it to him.
Oh yeah. It's all a numbers game. Can you pay for yourself?
Yeah.
That's all it is. If you're out there killing it on the technical and communication end, then here's a blank check, buddy. It's that simple. If you want to be we're getting into the times where $1 million technician is starting to become, it's still valuable, but it's also starting to become less impressive. So it's like, if we had a technician come in here and he said, hey, I can do $2-3 million and I know I can do it in an honest way. And oh, by the way, I know how to fix stuff too. I'm not just a, slick talking son of a gun. Okay, buddy. Here, I've got my checkbook right here. Just whatever you want. It's right here.
Yeah.
But I think we deal with these things, and we talk about shadow. I think we deal with these things that we're not good enough to deal with that, or we they're going to say this, or what if this, and it's like, so what? You're the professional. Walk at your career. You have a van. You go out on your own. The company trusts you. You should have a lot of confidence, because you've had a lot of success along your journey. And you might think, oh, I'm just a blue collar worker, but that's not true. You've had a lot. It is true that you're blue collar, but it's not, the negative outlook is not true. You've had a lot of success to be out on a van on your own, talking and communicating to customers. That's something to hang your hat up on. That's something to be proud of. So take that confidence and transfer it over until you know what you're talking about, and go sell some shit. Go tell that customer about that dirty blower wheel that's causing their heat exchanger to crack prematurely, and it's going to cost yada yada. People they eat that shit up. They love it.
Yeah. Sean Wolf, he's on Facebook. I have Facebook pulled up. He said 100K question mark. Buddy, first of all, shoot your shot further. We have
buddy.
we have 20-year-old kids that make more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can
do more than that.
Yeah. You can make some money.
You learn how to be a good communicator, and you learn how to fix things well. Like I said, it's a blank check. It is. Yeah. Sky's the limit, my friend.
Yeah, and especially a company that's set up properly. So,
yeah, you can't run 8 calls in a day and be a $3 million technician. You just can't do it.
Yeah, no.
You got to take your time.
Yeah, most of those guys that have those $1 million sales guys, those guys run like 2-3 calls in a day. That's all they do because of the thoroughness. And I don't know if you guys heard my last audio. He said I'm from the boonies in Montana. That's fine. Those people still need stuff. So if you're spread out, that means you can see less people in a day and you can take your time.
What I love is the success stories from the boonies. Like they're like, oh, I'm a $5 million operation and my population is, 100,000 people. And I'm like, what? Like that's insane. So I love the boonies model, because we have, granted, you can throw a rock and hit a heating and air conditioning place around here. Yeah. But our service area, it's only a 20-mile radius and we hit literally 1 million people. So
yeah, it's crazy.
It's really congested in the DMV.
HVAC teacher. That's Mr. Jimmy. He's going to come on the podcast. He's the one I was telling you teaches at school. And I think he's in Virginia.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but his school is fucking awesome. They do things right. Oh, speaking of that, I meant to tell you earlier, talking about a working system. Jeff JDM HVAC on Instagram. He just built a training center for his company. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that thing looks fucking amazing. That is.
Tell me what me and Big Jim did in the back isn't good enough.
No, I'm not saying it's not good, but if you see what he built, it's like, holy shit, that is fucking amazing. Like, it looks badass.
I was trying to convince Jimmy to open a live gas line without shutting it off, but we couldn't get the cap off. And I was like, damn it. And he was like up on a ladder too. And this guy, it's Big Jim he's a big boy.
Yeah. He's an offensive lineman. So,
yeah. And I was like, hey, you got to do this in the field sometimes. You can't find the shutoff valve. What do you do? But then we had to do it the right way. And it was a bunch of
they pushed out. That's why it was funny when I listened to your podcast and you're like, I couldn't work in the white collar world because I'd always be sent to HR. I'm like, that's exactly why we don't have an HR department.
Facts.
So that's funny. But yeah, man, I won't. Second of all, before we start to end this, why the fuck are you still at the office?
You said podcast. I have all my podcast gear here. I'm not going to be no podcasting bitch and not have a nice camera that I bought from you 2 Christmases ago. And I'm not going to be on my phone like, oh hey guys, what's up? So
it's funny. Yeah. We got all kind of, I got a microphone in my office now. I keep a camera in my bag, but Ryan's got a little setup now there. So we're
hell yeah,
moving on up, man. We're gonna some more shit
take over the world.
Yeah, right.
With our voices, we'll be majestic.
That's funny,
like a horse eating a peanut butter sandwich.
So, we've been longer than an hour, so I won't keep this going too long. Plus, my editor, anything over 60 minutes charged me extra, so I got to cut this motherfucker up.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Yeah, you going, buddy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
All right,
but thank you for having me.
Of course, buddy. I'll see you in the morning, man.
All right, I don't want to get no bill from HVAC Uncensored. I talk too much.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I'm gonna get ready to close it out now.
All right, man. I'll see you guys. Nice talking to everyone.
We'll go this. Yeah, so that's awesome, man. I didn't know. Yes, Jimmy, we'll definitely get together at the expo, man. Hang out, bro. So I think maybe I might put this out as an audio version. So this is what I'm going to do from now on, that I'll still be here Wednesdays, even if I am solo. But if I am solo and I feel like, it's my fault, I'm not prepared enough and there's not enough dialogue that I think it's going to work audio, I'll just record something else for the audio podcast to try to keep it consistent. Like I said, thank you guys for sticking with me. I know it's been a little all over the place. And so I also found out, last week, my mom was in the hospital for something completely different, but we found out that my mom's lung cancer came back. So 2023 has just been kicking me in the fucking nuts, man. And it's hard not to get down. It's hard not to want to get in a mind fuck sometimes. But I have too many people that depend on me. I can't, so I got to push through things and I'll be all right. But it kind of hit me. And then yesterday was also my wedding anniversary. And my wedding anniversary is also the day I lost my dad. So yesterday was kind of a rough day. I should have never, ever planned a podcast last night. My wife was kind of pissed, to be honest. But that's why when the lady canceled, I was pissed about what she did. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. If that's the case, then I'm not prepared for tonight. So I'll just do something tomorrow night. So, yeah, dude, it's been crazy. So, and that's why I apologize about the prizes. And my wife has been trying to help because, I have so many different business ventures that I do, man. Like I have a busy schedule and I know a lot of people are busy, so I'm not making excuses. But my wife's been trying to help, but some of the bigger things, trying to find boxes for them was fucking hard. So, I know she shipped a bunch of things out. I know there's like 2 or 3 of the bigger things that she just got boxes. She literally ordered them. My wife doesn't leave the house. She could have just went to a store, but that's a whole nother story. She ordered the boxes. So those things will get out. So everybody should be getting their things soon. And like I said, we threw a few extra like stickers and different things inside those boxes. So I apologize, but you will have them, I would say by this time next week, 100%, everybody who won something will have what they were supposed to get. All right. But yeah. That's about it, man. I'm going to go ahead and end this show, man. Thank you guys for coming here tonight, man. I appreciate you guys so much when you come here and you bullshit and I talk to you. Like, I look forward to doing these shows every week, the live streams, being able to chat with you guys and check in and see what's going on with you. I look forward to it, just as I hope that you guys look forward to it as well. I love seeing new names and new faces pop up in here. So to all those people that were new, I appreciate you guys. To all my moderators, Tons, Rookie, Kraus, Hughes, man. Who else was in here? I think that's the only ones that were in here tonight. There's also Mr. Zeke Warner, who I didn't see tonight. But thank you guys. I appreciate you. I can't wait to see some of you guys down in Atlanta at AHR. And it's literally right around the corner. I have to go get fitted for my tux because for the HVAC Tactical Awards. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, I was supposed to close this out. Guys, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for the prayers for my mom. I really appreciate that. If you're losing one parent, my mom, I'm very touchy with that. So it kind of hits me, kind of hard sometimes. But, what are you going to do? You got to suck it up and keep moving. You can't sit around and feel sorry for yourself. That's for damn sure. So, yeah. See, squirrel got mind fucked there for a second. Thank you guys. I appreciate that, man. Oh, of course, Adam. I appreciate that, man. I try to do the best, getting back to everybody. But like I said, matter of fact, dude, here, I'll show you guys just so you know that I'm not bullshitting you. Let me see if that email is even, shit, I don't have that email on here, but, Rookie will tell you when every HR is fucking huge and every company that's going to be there will send you a message. Hey, come stop by our booth. They'll message you again, email again. Hey, come stop by our booth. And you get that from fucking 1,000 different people. And you'll check your emails and all of a sudden it goes from like 6 unread messages to fucking 960. So the good ones, you got to try to thumb through, it's crazy. So if I missed an email, that's why, just so you know, Sam, that's why I missed yours. But I am alive and I appreciate your email, buddy. But anyway, have a good night, guys. I appreciate you. Remember, first and foremost, make sure you follow the podcast and all the social media sites. I'm really trying to build up YouTube and Instagram. So if you guys could follow me on those places or the Facebook, the business page. I know my uncensored group is kind of, and I don't blame people. I don't go in my own group sometimes, but if you could follow those for the podcast, if you have not left the podcast review, if you wouldn't mind doing that, nothing below 5 stars. And you can do it on wherever you listen to the podcast, whether it's, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to. If you wouldn't mind leaving a review, that would be greatly appreciated. All right, now I'm going to end this. Guys, remember to be safe out there. We all got somebody to make it home to. We live in a crazy world. Be safe. Keep your head on a swivel. And guys, do the little things that the next guy's not doing. Set yourself apart. All right? Keep trying to learn. Read a book. Listen to a podcast. Find videos, an internet course, a class in your local area, whatever it is. Keep trying to make yourself better. All right? Push yourself to always want more. Never be satisfied. Remember, you can't get complacent. You can't stand still. If you're not moving forward, then you're moving backwards. You're not getting better. There's no such thing as staying the same. And I challenge all of you to try to help somebody else make them better. It doesn't matter where you are in the field. There's still some way, some form or fashion that you can help somebody else and make somebody else better. All right? I think if the world needs that right now, man, because it's always pointing the finger, who did who, this person offended me, blah, blah, blah. Try to just set an example. You put positive vibes out into the world, you're going to get positive vibes back. And that's how I live my life. I try not to be controlled by the negative because it doesn't fucking help anything. All right. So I challenge you all to do that. Try to change somebody's life just from now until next week in a positive way. And just, I'd love to hear the story of what you did next week, to how you changed somebody's life in a positive way. And last but not least, man, I am always here to help you guys in any way possible. I try to get back to you as fast as I possibly can. I don't know everything. I'm not a know-it-all. I still try to learn every day. But if I can help you in any way, please reach out to me. I'll do anything I can to help you. If I don't know the answer, I'll use some of my resources to be able to either get the answer for you or get you in touch with somebody who will know that answer. All right? With that being said, I love you, motherfuckers. Have a great week. Stay safe. And remember, let's get better together one day at a fucking time. All right? Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.